for the Juanita, would you open for prayer, please?
Father, we're thankful to be in your house on this beautiful Sunday morning and be here to worship you and give you thanks and praise for all your blessings on us. We thank you for everyone that is here, and we pray for those who cannot be here, and we ask a special blessing on them. Thank you for Richard and for all the work that he does for our church, and for Sandra, she brings us the music, and we are so blessed by all the people who would come here each Sunday morning and give you thanks and honor and praise. And Father, we're just so thankful that we were able to be here. We thank you for all your blessings on us, and for those who cannot be here, we ask a special blessing. And Father, for our family, we just ask you to be with each one, bless them and guide them and help them to always be in service with you. Father, you have blessed us so much. I just thank you and praise you for all your blessings. Thank you for Sandra, and she brings the music to us, Father, and helps us to sing your praises. And we're so thankful for Richard as he leads us, and for Sandra as she teaches our Sunday school. And Father, we're just so thankful for so many people that we just can't express all our thanks. And we thank you and praise you because you have blessed us so much. And we're just so thankful for all your blessings. We are thankful for our country where we have the freedom to worship you. And I just pray that all of our people will recognize what a great country we live in and be thankful and give you the thanks and the honor and the glory and the praise that you so richly deserve. Please be with Richard as he leads us, and Sandra as she teaches us. Everybody that takes part here today, Lord, we ask for special blessing on each one. And please be with us this week as we go out into the community or go home, wherever we are. We ask that we will be guided by your word and love and serve you. Now, please be with us through the service, and please send your Holy Spirit upon each one, that we may give you the honor and the glory. And praise you in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. Let's turn our hymn book to page 727.
Where
Do we have any announcements today? Do we have any birthday?
Yes, we do.
Good.
Meredith is putting Miss Matilda's in.
Okay.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, long us. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, long us. Happy birthday to you.
Let's turn our hymn book to page 731. Well, today is Mother's Day. I think Juanita is the oldest mother here today.
You're old.
She just blesses us with her wisdom.
One son and 3 girls. Lost my son, but my girls are still laughing me. Oh, that's you, my girl. Thank you, Mitchell.
Happy Mother's Day.
Thank you. Isn't that great?
Pretty easy this year.
Yeah. Now we know who's the youngest.
Yeah, no problem.
Miss Brenda.
Miss Brenda,
Thank you.
happy Mother's Day.
Thank you.
Miss Andrew, I can remember when I was 50, and I got the youngest brother.
Tom was 71 or 2, when you got the youngest father.
He was so proud that he was everybody.
Happy Mother's Day, all you do for
My mother lived to be 92, so maybe I got 5 more years.
You know what I say, Jenny? Praise the Lord, we've got some young moms in here.
I hadn't seen Gary come in, so we'll sing his first song.
Well, we can do let's do I'll do the responsive reading for you on page 728, the responsive reading.
728.
A wife of noble character who can find.
She is worth far more than rubies.
Her husband has full confidence in her and lacks nothing of value.
She brings him good, not harm, all the days of her life,
She selects wool and flax.
and works with eager hands,
She is like the merchant ships.
bringing her food from afar.
She gets up while it is still dark.
She provides food for her family.
She opens her arms to the poor.
She stands her hands to the needy.
She is clothed with strength and dignity.
She can laugh at the days to come,
She speaks with wisdom.
and faithful instruction is on her tongue.
She watches over the affairs of her household.
Does not eat the bread of idleness.
Her children arise and call her blessed.
Her husband also, he praises her.
Charm is deceptive and beauty is fleeting.
But a woman who fears the Lord is to be praised.
He's here.
Is he here?
Yeah, he slipped in on you.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, he's back here still.
You think I was your boyfriend? At this time, I'll turn service over to our pastor, Gary Steele.
Not a problem.
Good morning. Sir, how do you that? We got one way traffic. Okay, Carol. I will. Let's turn in our hymnals to hymn number 731,
772.
732.
I think you'll recognize the tune because it's the same as the first one.
We ought to be good.
That's right.
What beautiful words. Am I on? Not yet.
Mhm.
All right, God bless you as we gather here in God's house to worship and praise His holy name. That's our primary effort this morning, to lift Him up above every name. But it's also a special day. It's a special day because across the globe, international, all denominations, in one place or another, have designated this day as a day that we would honor our mothers. Our mothers meaning someone in our lives that has played that role. I know that I'm conscious of the fact that the privilege that most of us here have enjoyed hasn't come to everyone. And so I would lift those people up today that and pray that someone in their lives gave them the love of a mother, and that it's our role, it's our task that we share the love of Christ, which is above and beyond any love that we might know on this earth. That He can be for us a love that goes on forever. So it is Mother's Day today, and I know that the flowers have already been dispensed. That was always a time of celebration for us in this church, from the youngest to the oldest, and for all the mothers in between. Thank you again. Don't take for granted that the recognition that we pay to our mothers. Part of that is the adornment that Jerry's been so faithful in sharing her gifts and talents with us, so that we might be visually reminded of what day it is as we go through the year. Joys and concerns. Bless this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom and the power and the glory forever. Okay, if the kids would come up. Come on up. Come on up. Meredith. Come on. Come on, baby. Oh, come on.
Isn't it great that we have these children that we never used to have here?
Yeah, amen. And they're still coming. Sister, I'm gonna have to start getting water out of the lawn. Well, what's the matter, hon?
The voice of one of her runaway.
Okay, but I've got one for her. Amelia, I have one for you. Yeah. Now we're going to do a little technology here. Challenges your pastor to do a little technology. I just want you to know that. That's why he sent Justin here, because he knew of my lack of gifts in that regard. So I want to show you a picture. Amelia, I need you over here, because you're going to have to look at this. Help me, okay? No, that's not where it's at, Gary. There it is. Now, Amelia, tell everybody what that is.
Turtle.
Okay, where's that turtle at? Can you tell? He's on a fence post. Yeah. You see that? You see that turtle? See that turtle? Okay. Huh? you see the turtle, honey? Look, Cole, what is that? Huh? Turtle? Yeah. You see it, guys? See, when we get our screen put in here, Justin, when we get our screen put in, I'm gonna do this. Okay, you see that turtle?
I see it.
It's a, what is it on? I didn't get confirmation. But here's the thing. See, here's the question. How did it get there? How did that turtle get up there? Yeah? How did it get there? Did it fly? This turtle can't fly. Did it jump up there? That high off the ground? How did it do it? You think it climbed up there? I don't know. Corey, do you think that turtle could have climbed up on that post?
I'd say somebody said it.
You think somebody set him up there? So you mean to tell me that turtle's where it's at because somebody put it there?
That's true, I guess.
Yeah. Because we can be pretty sure, don't fall, baby. Don't you fall on your head. You already did that once. That's okay, I'll say it. Hey, Cole. Hey, you want Daniel? So here's the thing. That turtle got where it's at because somebody put it there. Right? Now, I'll tell you a little story. Farmers used to do this. When they find turtles in the field, they put it up on this fence post while they were mowing or running the tractor so that they wouldn't run over it, right? Because he knew that when they put that turtle up there like that, it couldn't get off. It got there because he put it there, and it couldn't get off till he took it off. What's the lesson? You know what the lesson is? Where you are today, because you're in church today, how'd you get here? Yeah, who brought you? Yeah, you are where you are because your mommy and daddy helped you get there. Right? Remember that there's not anything in your life that you're ever going to do by yourself. Someone always is going to be there to help you, right? And when your mommy and daddy can't be there, Jesus will be there to help you. And he'll put you in a place that'll keep you safe. And he'll help you get from that place to the next place. What is that, Cole? What is it? Huh? The what? Help me, Cole. Help me. Where'd it go? Surely. There it is. There it is. Look. There he is. Right? So anytime that you do anything, you always have help. That turtle had help getting up there. And he'll have help getting off. Right? Anytime you need help, who should you ask? Yes. Mommy and daddy will help you. And then when you pray at night for things that are bigger than even your mommy and daddy, who do you pray to? Jesus. Jesus will help you. Right? So look, here's I've got turtles. I got turtles, and in that turtle's belly is a note. And that note's for your mom. Okay? So I know what we've got that there's going to be some moms that get a lot of these. But what I'd like for you to do is to take one of these to all the moms in here, right? Because Sister Sandra, right? She's not your mommy, But in Christ, she does things for you that your mom would do. She leads us in music, right? And that's something a mom would do, right? Because she knows what it's like to be a mommy. So I want you to take each one of these to a mommy in here. Can you do that? Can you take one of these to a mom? Yeah, okay, go. You take one to a mom, Brooks. You take one to a mom. Take one to a mom. Take one. You gonna take this to a mom? Go, Cole.
Cool. Okay.
Did we get them all? What mom didn't get it? What mom didn't get one? Cole. Oh. Yeah! That's what you call airman. That's airman. We didn't get one. Hey, Richard, take one, brother Richard. See?
Corey, here's the teacher, here's the
Oh, wait a
teacher.
minute, we didn't get one. Okay. Who else didn't get one?
Did Juanita get one?
Juanita, did you get
I
one?
think Meredith kept it.
Wait a minute, Cole, wait. Are we good? Did everybody get one in? Your mom didn't get one? I got two. I run out of notes. You want to give that with your mom? Huh? You want to give it to your mom? Hey, Brooks, did you take her toy? Huh? Oh.
He gave him back.
Huh? Did he give it back? Who wants to? Let's let big sis take it to your mom, okay? Are we good? There's a note, there's not a note in that one, so give her your note. I ran out of notes. Who are we gonna give this to? Huh? I only have one left. She didn't get one. Who didn't? Oh. Now the notes say, Happy Mother's Day, and inside it says, I love you. Now, let's give kids, where'd all the kids go? Let's give all the mommies and daddies, okay? Did you know that when Ma Bell was was still doing all the phone, CP, Ma Bell, that the most phone calls that were made on any given day in the year was this day. They processed more phone calls on Mother's Day than any other day. On Father's Day had a record too, but it was collect calls. Father's got all the collect calls. So let's give moms a big hand. Grandmas and all the people in your life, tell them you love them, okay? Thank you. Okay, turtle. I'm not your mother. So now, while we're on this subject, and it's not, I love to do this. I love to do children's, but I'm not here every Sunday, and they need to hear something every Sunday. Okay, so we need to kind of plan that out, get together, and share that responsibility to bring a message to the children every Sunday. It keeps them engaged. It keeps them their attention in the right place. So we need to talk about that going forward, that we be sure we have one prepared for them every Sunday that they come. So All right. Another special treat. I was gifted with this collection. Oh, I don't know, it's probably been 20 years ago. I'm working on my 26th year here on this charge. And soon into that, I received a copy of a collection of poems. Who do you think might have written it? Sylvia Kinsey. Sylvia Kinsey. So I brought that this morning because I wanted to share with you a poem that Sylvia, again, I was privileged to meet here in this church, a poem that she wrote about her mom, written in 1964. Her old sunbonnet lies on the dresser, and her rocking chair is steel. You don't know how much I miss her. Now she lies upon the heel. She said, I'm growing weary and my old bones ache. Life was becoming dreary and the silver cord must break. I know I could not keep her. I know she's earned her rest. But I know I'll always miss her as she mingles with the blessed. For all her acts of kindness and so many gentle things, may heaven's gates swing open, Lord. Bless her with her wings. Sylvia Kinsey. I want to share with you this morning out of the Gospel of John, in the 13th chapter, beginning with the 31st verse. John chapter 13, verse 31. We'll read through to 35. When he had gone out, Jesus said, now the Son of Man has been glorified, and God has been glorified in him. If God has been glorified in him, God will also glorify him in himself, and will glorify him at once. Little children, I am with you only a little longer. You will look for me, and as I said, excuse me, as I said to the Jews, so now I say to you, where I'm going, you cannot come. I give you a new commandment, that you love one another just as I have loved you. You also should love one another. By this, everyone will know that you are my disciples, if you have love for one another. This is the word of God, written for the people of God.
Thanks be to God.
I don't know where this kind of love gets expressed any more vividly than it does between a mother and a child. Now, I learned that after the fact, because when I gave my life to Christ when I was 13 years old, it was because of a mother, my son, my best friend's mother, who took us to a Wednesday evening prayer meeting. It was rainy, it was dark. Missionary Alliance Church, over on the corner of Fairfax and East Park, across from Joe's Cars. That was the Missionary Alliance Church. It's now a banquet hall. And the only portion of that building that existed was the basement. The church hadn't raised enough money to build the top half of the church. And so they met in that basement for a few years before the church was built on top. They invited a missionary from Australia to speak that night. I knew no one else there but my friend and his mother. And when he finished his sermon, he had an altar call. And I knew beyond the shadow of a doubt that night that God was calling me. Christ had spoke to my heart. And I wasn't sitting in a convenient place on the end of the pew. I had to climb over people to get to the aisle to go to that altar, and she came with me. My life in so many ways has never been the same. But it was then when I realized the love that Jesus had for me. That so much of that love that I understood was the love my mother had already shown me. The sacrifice that Christ made for me, I had seen over and over again in my mother's life. Every day, she gave a little bit of herself for my life. She'd often say, look at these wrinkles, Gary. Look at these lines in my face. I said, Mom, I don't know one of those. They're trophies, Mother. They're trophies. Of a life given for a life. I was privileged to have that kind of a mother. I was privileged to have a grandmother who rocked me in her chair, held me in her arms, and sang just a little more. Brothers and sisters, I was privileged that one Sunday, that woman that took me to that Union Missionary Alliance church came to a service here. Doors were in. And she sat in that back seat. And I got the privilege that day of recognizing her and acknowledging that what she did for me in my life was one of the primary reasons that I stood here. You don't get that opportunity much in life. And I hope that when you did, that you don't neglect to give God thanks and to give them the thanks for the sacrifices they've made in your life. That's the kind of love that Jesus is talking about in this scripture. That's the kind of commandment that he's given us. And more often than not, it gets played out in our lives through our mothers. This kind of love. He could have just said, love one another, right? And stopped there, but he put a caveat on it. He said, you're commanded to love each other as I have loved you. And then he ends in that last verse by saying, by this kind of love, this exhibition of this kind of love will identify you in the world as my disciples. It won't be how many times you came to church. It won't be how many crosses you wore around your neck. It won't be about how many Bibles you carry. It's going to be about the love that you give others who don't deserve it, who don't have any way to pay it back. That when you give it, that love as a gift asks for nothing in return. When I was a child growing up, there weren't many cars on the road. If you had a car, a family, you had one. And more often than not, Dad had it at work. But once in a while, my mom would get the car. And we never passed up the opportunity to go for a ride. And I would stand on the seat beside my mother as she drove down the road, no seatbelts. And every time she hit the brake, she went like this to catch me. You remember that? Well, that worked fine, all well and good, till one day I wasn't in the car. One of her friends was sitting in the passenger seat, and she hit the brakes and whacked the woman in the chest. But the point I want to make is that she was my seatbelt. And that played out in my life in a much bigger way than riding in a car. A woman wrote, I received a Mother's Day card that pictured a mother driving a car, her son in the passenger seat, and her outstretched arm protectingly flung across his chest. And the caption read, to Mom, the original seatbelt. A mom's protective reach has always been the saving seatbelt for her family. But this seatbelt takes different forms and in different ways. For some, the mom offered the seatbelt of continuous presence. I knew that my mom was always there. I knew that when I needed her, I could find her, that I knew that she was there for me no matter what time of the day it was or what the circumstances might be. She was there ushering me out the door with my sack lunch to go to school, and she was there when I came back. Fixing supper, getting ready for the evening meal. She was there at every game. Every contest that I ever participated in, she was there, hollering her son's name. Go, Gary. For some, Mom offered the seatbelt of a role model. My mom worked incredibly hard, as I know you've seen your moms work incredibly hard. She worked incredibly hard at everything she did. It just wasn't in the home. It was in the garden. It was in church. It was at school. She worked incredibly hard. She never, ever slacked, no matter how trivial it might have been. For some, Mom offered the seatbelt of stability. No matter what circumstances come up or what challenges, my mom will say, everything's going to be okay. Everything's going to be all right. We're going to make it. We're going to do it. We'll do it together. And I know after 25 years and 25 Mother's Day services, you've heard me say some things over and over again, but some of them I feel are so important. That my mom had something they've never been able to bottle, something the medical community has never been able to put in a salve. She had magic spit. And when I skinned my knee, after she told me not to run, She'd pick me up and she'd lick her fingers and she'd rub my knee. There, everything will be okay. Darn if it wasn't. My mom wasn't afraid of anything. If she was, I never saw it. She was training us not to be afraid. I know there were some times she was, but she always covered it up. For some, Mom offered a seatbelt of gentleness, a spirit of love and forgiveness and tenderness, always accessible, always welcoming, arms that provided a decompression space. My mom saved my life on a number of occasions. One time I banged my head on the sliding board and fell into the water, knocked me out. Had she not been there, I would have drowned. And I cannot tell you how many times my mother saved me from my dad. I'm pretty sure that had my mom not been there, my dad may have taken my life. That's enough, Danny. I know that when I turned 16, my dad was considering buying me a motorcycle. He had a motorcycle. He was considering buying me a motorcycle. My mom seldom ever put her foot down. We lived in a dictatorship. But Danny made the rules, and everybody followed them. But when my mom built up enough courage to put her foot down, my dad knew she meant it. She told him, Danny, if you buy that boy a motorcycle, I'll leave. Gary never got a motorcycle. Author Hester Mundis stated, there's no such thing as a non-working mother. Michelangelo's Pietà. Now that's the painting where Jesus has been taken down from the cross and he's laying in Mary's lap. That woman, we talked about that was blessed among women? Same one. It illustrates with such heartbreaking poignancy. Even Jesus ended up where he began, in the arms of his mother. Jesus, Messiah, Son of Man, Son of God, didn't ask for much, just that we be as open and accepting in our love as he was in his life to us. Now that's a tall order, I'll agree, for us to love like Jesus loved. That's why we need to work on it every day. Every day. Jesus made a way for you and for me. When we participate in Christ's death and resurrection and baptism, we invite Christ to be born into the depth and breadth and width and height of our soul. This risen Christ within fills us with a love that the scripture calls agape. Fills us with love that is indeed as Jesus himself loved us. Christ's love becomes the seatbelt for our soul. It's gentle binding of our heart that lets us venture into dangerous territories and unknown challenges and unfriendly circumstances without losing hope. Oh, there's times we wanted to give up. There's times in this congregation where we didn't know if we were going to last. And then the babies came. And the life, the new life, that our God says, there's hope. I've sent this new life because I want you to know there's hope for tomorrow. Our greatest love that we can express is not mother's love or father's love or romantic love or even humanitarian love. The greatest love which we are called by Christ to be filled with to overflowing is agape love. A love that's unconditional. The most successful and adored mothers have raised their children with that kind of love. The most honored and revered fathers have extended unbounded agape love. On Mother's Day, on any day, agape love doesn't take a day off. It rejoices every day to have yet another chance to show itself to everyone we meet. When you pray to God for another day, why should He honor that prayer if your intention isn't to show that kind of love to someone in your life? That's our purpose. That's the church's call. In 2 Timothy, this often gets overlooked, but I want to read it to you. 2 Timothy, Paul's speaking to Timothy. And I think this is apropos for this day that we celebrate for our mothers. Paul in his second letter to Timothy writes this, chapter 1, verse 5. I am reminded of your sincere faith, Timothy, a faith that lived first in your grandmother Lois and your mother Eunice, and now I am sure lives in you. Paul was confident in Timmy's faith because he saw it in his mother and his grandmother. Brothers and sisters, I stand here today, and much of what you see in me was given me by my mother and my grandmother, and a mother of a friend who took the time out of her busy life to share the Lord with me. I give thanks to God today. And I pray that these new mothers that are coming, that have their children here today, will share that good news so that the Word of God and the presence of the Holy Spirit will live on for the next generation, that they might hear the truth and be set free. In Jesus' name, God's people said, Amen. Let's turn in our hymnals to hymn number 776. And we close. Bless you. the day and on the night. Here and there and free and far, sun and moon and stars align. Lord of all creation, this our hymn of grateful praise. Oh, the joy of human love, brother, sister, parent, child, friends on earth and friends above. This our hymn of grateful praise. For the church that ever Lord lifted holy hands above, offering up on every shore where blue sacrifice of love. Lord of all believing praise, this our hymn of grateful praise. Let's give thee high to the world set free and given. Oh, that great, great love of God, peace on earth and joy in heaven. Lord of all believing grace, sorry, I'm grateful. May the Lord bless you and keep you, make his face to shine upon you, pour his countenance over you, and give you a peace that passes your understanding. In Jesus' name, God's people say, amen.
Amen.
Go ahead. Wait, yell it. Mary